That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Alright guys, this channel is now seeing over 50 new subscribers a day. I mean, thank y'all so much for an unreal amount of support that y'all showed on these videos. I mean, y'all have been destroying that like button. If you look at other YouTube channels, y'all are absolutely, by far and away, the best fantasy football audience on YouTube in the way that y'all engage with these videos and the nice comments y'all leave and those DMs that we engage with on Patreon and Twitter. So I really owe everyone a massive, massive thank you that's already in the flock, that is making the flock grow rapidly. And because of that, I'm going to continue to make a Dynasty fantasy football video for y'all every single day. And in the last video, we had some requests for people asking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire and his Dynasty fantasy football outlook. So yeah, that's what we are going to talk about. And also, I know I've had a ton of messages asking how y'all can get in a Dynasty fantasy football with myself and the other subscribers of the channel. Just go down there to the description of the video, join Patreon, and we'll be running all of our Dynasty fantasy football leagues through Patreon this offseason, just like we did the offseason ago. I will be completely transparent, and right now I am paying out everyone their 2020 winnings, and then I'm going to be collecting league dues for 2021. And then after we go through about a week or 10 days of that, then I'll be looking at what spots are going to be empty in what leagues. I'll be then sending that announcement out on Patreon for y'all to get involved and take up those spots. And then afterwards, I'll be creating brand new Dynasty startup drafts for all of the new subscribers and the new supporters. So I'm very excited to play against y'all in 2021. I mean, I crushed those Patreon leagues in 2020. So yeah, excited to make more money. Crushing y'all, taking down those league pots. But anyway, let's not focus on that. Let's focus in on Clyde Edwards-Helaire and what we think that he can be in terms of a Dynasty fantasy football asset. And here, just like we did with Jonathan Taylor, just like we did with DeAndre Swift, if we are trying to evaluate Clyde Edwards-Helaire, not only do we need to look at what he accomplished in his rookie season, we also need to look at what type of player he was coming out of LSU into the NFL draft, because zooming out a little bit gives us more data points, gives us a better overall picture of a player and what we can be expecting for his future outlook. Okay, so with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, guys, currently he is only 21 years old. I know that's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, he is younger than I am, which is crazy to think about, considering the fact that I'm just sitting here talking about Dynasty fantasy football, and this man is making an impact for the Kansas City Chiefs. But anyway, he's also a little bit undersized, according to most people, at 5'7", 270 pounds. But personally, I'm not worried about this in the slightest. I always talk about this in not overweighting just how much the overall size of a running back matters. What I care about seeing a little bit more is the BMI for the running back, because that tells us how stocky he is. I mean, we can look at players like Maurice Jones-Drew and then see that these guys that may be a little bit shorter, may weigh a little bit less, can still be featured down running backs at the NFL if they have that BMI, because that's going to be a lot more predictive on what their body type truly is. And he's in the 89th percentile for BMI, so he checks the size box as well as the age box. And then if we look at draft investment, he was selected in the first round with the 32nd pick overall. Now, I know this does not sound like significant draft investment, but guys, this is 2020. I mean, this is where teams are taking running backs, as multiple analytic staffs in the NFL have concluded that taking a running back with a premium pick is generally a losing strategy with the value proposition that you are giving up on defensive backs, on wide receivers, on quarterback, on offensive line. I mean, generally, it's a much better idea of going out there and significantly investing into the premium positions with your first round pick rather than going out and getting a luxury spot as a running back. But here anyway, that's what the Kansas City Chiefs decided to do. And we also know it's very important when we evaluate these running backs coming into the NFL that what we are wanting to see is we are wanting to see great size adjusted athleticism. And this is the one mark that Clyde Edwards-Helaire does not hit. I mean, he ran a 4.6 flat at the combine, and yes, that is a slow number, but as well as if you combine it with his size, I mean, he has a 47th percentile speed score, and that is not something that we are loving to see. That is not something that is jumping off the page for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But regardless, let's look at what he was able to do in his rookie season. And honestly, I know a lot of people want to look at him as a disappointment, but I don't think so. I mean, through 15 weeks, he was able to accumulate 181 carries, 36 receptions, 1,100 total yards, and 5 touchdowns. So obviously, he was a player that had multiple dud weeks, as we would be expecting from a 21-year-old, but he had multiple spike weeks in terms of being able to go out there and handle almost every single touch in that backfield, as well as every single snap. And clearly, the one problem that occurred for Clyde Edwards-Helaire in his 2020 campaign was Le'Veon Bell coming in and messing everything up. I mean, before Le'Veon Bell came in, if we look at weeks 1 through 6, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was the running back 17 in points per game. So, I mean, this is a very strong start for a running back that's 21 years old. He's stepping in and automatically giving you mid-running back 2 production. We're completely fine with that. But once Le'Veon Bell signs with the Kansas City Chiefs, we see this production become a lot more inconsistent in that he drops down to being the running back 22 points per game, which I know this is a low-end running back 2. This is not what you drafted him for in either your Dynasty or your redraft league. So yes, technically it's a disappointment, but still, if we look at the other running backs that he compared to during this stretch in points per game, I mean, he's still over some quality guys. I mean, he scored more points per game than Kenyon Drake, Ronald Jones, Raheem Mostert, Melvin Gordon. I mean, so as a 21-year-old running back that's splitting a backfield with Le'Veon Bell, those are still decent marks. And if we try to project how this backfield is going to look going forward, I mean, the guys here are Le'Veon Bell, who's clearly, I mean, this is the only year that he should be playing with the Kansas City Chiefs. The other guy there is Damian Williams, who decided to opt out this year due to COVID. And I know a lot of people are coming out here saying Damian Williams is going to come back to this team and have a role this upcoming season in 2021. But guys, I mean, that is such a hard thing to make a bet on. I mean, if we look at Damian Williams, yes, he was a fantastic running back during the Chiefs Super Bowl. I mean, he was a fantastic running back in multiple games, but a couple things here. One, he was playing in the best offense in football. We know how dependent the running back position is on overall offensive production. There's a direct correlation between overall points scored and the running back production. So we can just naturally assume that a lot of that Damian Williams production came from the fact that he was playing with Patrick Mahomes, and not necessarily due to the fact that Damian Williams is some ridiculous superb athlete. I mean, they would not have drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round if that was the case. Reminder, they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round before Damian Williams had opted out. And as well, Damian Williams is going to be 29 years old this upcoming season. I want to remind everyone, I mean, not every running back is Frank Gore. The majority of running backs flame out of the NFL way before they get to 29. I mean, look at a player like Todd Gurley right now, who's 26 years old. I mean, please, guys, understand that these running backs cannot last deep into their NFL careers at this day of age, because what you need at the running back position is you need juice. You need that electricity to be able to turn upfield and pick up extra yards. Really, the days of NFL offenses being built around grinding running backs that are going to make a defender miss in between the tackles are kind of over. And if we look at the other running backs in this backfield, we have Darrell Williams, who has actually seen a decent amount of snaps, even in games where both Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Le'Veon Bell has been healthy. But Darrell Williams is under the last year of that contract, and they have Darwin Thompson, who's still under his rookie contract, but Darwin Thompson has not shown any ability so far to be able to go out there and be an impact player, to be able to command touches in that backfield. So it looks like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the only player that has a secure job for the Kansas City Chiefs in 2021. And this makes sense because they decided to select him in the first round of this year's past draft. Now, I know a lot of people want to bring up the injury and say, okay, but is he going to be fine? I mean, what is going to happen? And yes, I'll say this is a question mark surrounding him, but the most recent reports are saying that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is done for the regular season, but he should be good to go in the playoffs. And if that's the case, I mean, we have no concern about Clyde Edwards-Helaire for 2021. Even if he misses the Chiefs' playoff run, personally, that's going to be something I want to see, kind of selfishly. That way I can go out there and buy Clyde Edwards-Helaire everywhere I can in Dynasty at a small discount. And this is because I think that he should positively regress in the touchdown category in 2021. I mean, if we look at him so far this season, his fantasy production would be a lot higher if he just was able to convert a few of those goal line carries over to touchdowns. And the Kansas City Chiefs have really just not been seeing the amount of rushing touchdowns in 2020 as they previously have with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, so if we go back to 2018, the first year that they had Patrick Mahomes starting the season, the Chiefs had 16 rushing touchdowns. If we go to 2019, they had 16 rushing touchdowns as well. We go to 2020, they only have 12 here. And this is mainly due to the overall offensive situation. This is mainly due to small sample variance. It's nothing to do with the talent of a Clyde Edwards-Helaire, because we know the very, very, very small difference in goal line usage is not because of talent. It's because of the head coach deciding to give a running back the ball there and the offensive line pushing forward. I don't think we have to worry about Clyde Edwards-Helaire being some running back that's not going to be able to find the end zone. It's more so we just want to see him getting the usage there, which he should. So I think that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a player that should be going at the very minimum at the back end of round 1 of Dynasty startup drafts and the very beginning of round 2 of Dynasty startup drafts, because he is tied to Patrick Mahomes. He is tied to Andy Reid over the next 4 seasons with that rookie contract. He looks like he should be their feature down running back. So please, if you can, go buy at a discount after this rookie season, which most people want to label as disappointing, because after Damian Williams held out, he was going at the beginning to mid round 1 of fantasy drafts this past season. I mean, I think that I'm going to be all about buying that small dip, because I think he's one of the safest assets that you can have in Dynasty Fantasy Football. All right. Now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop that like, leave that comment, subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps us out. And yeah, that's all I got for y'all. I hope I'll see y'all with the video tomorrow.